Hey guys, welcome to Recraft Relic channel and I hope you are doing well. So today we are going to build a table in VueJS with the ability to sort its column and search its column. Alright. And yeah, before starting, if you like these live coding sessions that I do every Saturday, please subscribe to the channel, like the video and share it with other people. Alright. With that being said, let's get started. So as always, I have this dummy project, view project that I already have built. So I'm just going to remove these things. And for styling, I'm using TailwindCSS as always. And I have added the CDN link here. You can see TailwindCSS, right? Basically, the whole idea is to build a table, load data in it, and then allow the ability to sort its column and also search its columns, so you can search the records basically and filter them out. All right. So let's get started. First thing and foremost, I'm just going to remove these, you know, dummy things. Instead of hello world, I'm just going to say table, and I'm going to remove this as well. Table, import table. I'm going to go into the components, hello world, rename this to not this. Hello world dot view to table.view, and I'm going to remove all of this. I don't need this. Maybe not this as well, right? And I don't need the styling because I'm using Tailwind. I don't need this, and the name of the component will be table, right? So I'm just going to open inspect in case we run into an error or something. All right, so let's start by creating a table. So instead, let's keep the it will be a table, right? Table with a head and a body. So the head, right, and the body, and inside the body there will be like a tr, a row, right, and inside tr there will be th, right. So these will basically be our columns. So for example, let's start with a name, or name, we can go with age, and then we can go like I don't know, maybe profession. Yeah, let's go with that. So profession, right? So this is our like basically our columns, and then there will be body. So let's style it a bit. First and foremost, this div I'm going to give it a class of m, not m, padding from everywhere 10. So I have given it some padding. Great. Then this tr, right? Not tr, but let's start with the th. So I'm just going to give it border 2, and yeah, that is pretty much it, right? Oh no, so let's give it also the padding p5. P5 is too much, let's give it p2, right? And then I'm just going to copy this class over all the th, and it's going to make us a perfect columns and stuff, right? Now let's go to the t body and say tr, right? We are going to make all of this dynamic. I'm just doing it so I can get the structure right at first, and then we'll basically change this to dynamic content. So tr td, great. Let's start with my name, Manoj, age 24, profession software developer, right? And I'm going to do the same class thing with this because I need it need to be same. And yeah, here we go. right? So looks pretty cool. Great. I don't want this to be like centered. I want it to the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say text left here, and it's going to move it to here as well, and here as well, right? So we have name, age, profession, software developer. Great. If you want to add more data, we can do like maybe year of birth, and add it and say 1997 for me, right? So yeah, so it looks pretty cool, the design and stuff. Let's try to make it dynamic. What I'll try to do, I'll try to uh, pass the data from the right. So let's go here, let's say data here, and say return, right? And return, and it will have rows, and then we'll have columns as well, which you can see above, right? So rows and column. Great. And then let's create a rows. So rows will be array of array of array. So first will be like Manoj 24. So I'm going to make everything string for now, just to make it easier for search and stuff. But in real life scenario, you can always mix it with different data types. For the tutorial sake, I'll just keep them in string. I'll make it John, make the age 26. Software developer, I can just say lawyer. And according 26, it should be 2094, 4 or 5. And yeah, let's do one more. Say Lily, say 34, say sales woman, and yeah, I'm very bad at math, so I'm just going to assume 24, right? So I have to minus 10, right? So 1987, right? So this will be our rows, and columns will be name, age, profession, and year of birth, right? So let's map them here. So instead of this, what I'm going to just say, so I'm just going to refactor it a bit. Yeah. So instead of static data, I'm just going to say v4 equal to column index in columns, right? And I'm going to bind the key, v bind key equal to index, right? And here I'm going to display the column. This will be double, right? So one second. And I'm going to remove this. Let's see how it works. Reload this page. Yeah, it works great. And now instead of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm just going to copy it because it's much more easier to do it that way. So v4, I'm just going to say, instead of column, I'll say row in rows, row index in rows, this will be index, and for this I have to do a v4. The reason being it's an array, so it's an array inside an array. So what I'm going to do is just refactor it a bit first, and just say the same thing. But instead of row, it will be row. It will be rows. It will be row and item, and this will be item index. And I'm just going to go here, do this, save. And yeah, you can see we successfully have dynamically shown the data here, right? I'm just going to add more rows to it. So I'm just going to say maybe Rachel, saleswoman, that's fine. I'm just going to say Ross. I'm going to say, maybe a barber, right? And I'm going to say Chandler, who is actually was a salesman, right? Or he was accountant, I'm not sure. But yeah, just go with this, and I'm just going to make it 30. I'm going to plus 4 into this, and yeah. So yeah, you can see this. Great. So now let's make it searchable first. Let's go with the searchable part first, and then we'll make it sortable as well. So for the searchable, what I'm going to do is here I'm going to create another div and an input type. Type will be text, right? And type will be text. I'm going to give it some classes. Class equal to border 2, right? I'm going to give it margin from bottom, maybe 5, and I'm just going to make it border rounded, and let's increase its height as well, right? This is too much. Maybe I don't know if there is a 8. Is there? Maybe a 12. 10. I think 10 will work. Yeah. All right. And width to 24 maybe. I think it's fine. It's fine like this. So all right. So we are also going to give it a placeholder. Placeholder equal to search records. And we are going to give it padding because it's not looking good. So padding from everywhere too, right? And yeah, I mean, all of the fields will be searchable. So we're just going to keep it that way. Like all the fields are searchable. And great, search records. Let's start how this will work. And then we're going to define some methods here. The first method will be on search. What will happen on search? And we're going to take the event. We're going to extract the term from the e.target.value. So whatever the text was inside that search, we're just going to take that. Right, term is assigned available. Yeah. So now what we have to do is we have to perform a search, right? So one thing is there. So there will be a a raw rows. The reason being, this will be the basically what we have to show to the users, right? What we are going to show the user, and then there will be another variable called rows. So this will be like the true data source, which will hold like all of our data, and these rows will be the rows that we want to show to the user, right? So that's how it's going to work, right? And what I'm going to do is I can just say mounted, and on mount I'm just going to say this dot rows is equal to this dot raw rows, right? And I'm going to just do this for now, just to see if this works. Right, so you can see it works. So it's still even if our rows are empty on mounted, we are just assigning that this dot raw rows value to this, and it's basically being shown here. The reason I'm doing it because I want to modify this dot rows according to the filter. So I'm just going to filter the records and just basically save them in the state and display them there. So now what I'm going to do is this dot rows. So let's create a function outside this. So let's go here, create a function called const perform search, and we are going to take all of the rows and the term as well, and we are basically going to return the results, right? So I'm just going to say return results, and here I'm going to say const results equal to rows dot filter row, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to join all of the all of the items basically. So this is the row, so this is a single row, right? So I'm going to join all of this into one string and then perform search on it. So something like this, row dot join using a space, and then dot includes the term. So basically what this will do is it will convert this into a single array, Manoj space 24 space software developer space 1997, and then perform the search on it, that if it includes the term that we have provided in the search box, and if it matches it, it will return the result, so it's basically it will be like that. So perform search, what I'm going to do is here this dot rows is equal to perform search rows, term will be the term that we have, right? So rows is not defined, it says. Yeah, it's not, because it's this dot rows, right? And then I'm going to go here and say at input on search. So who don't some of you, if you don't know what is an at input event, it is same as on change, but in what happens with on change is that on change only fires when input gets blurred. When you click outside, then only on change gets fired. But with at input, whenever you just start typing, it will, as you type another word, it's basically going to call at input. So it's going to be like real time on change. So let's try to search, say Manoj. So it's search, great. Let's say type Ross, but it doesn't search again. The real reason is that once you search like Manoj, then the rows get modified, and the next time the only record inside the rows is Manoj, and that's what's happening. That's why we don't able to find Ross. So instead of this, we'll do raw rows because it is like the rows always have the like all the data. So it doesn't we don't modify that variable, so it will always hold the so I can say Manoj, and you can see it again goes to it. I can say John, I can say Ross, right? I can say Barber, it will search it as well. I can say developer, it will search. I can say 87, it will search everything with the 87. I can say 199, it will search all the record with the 199. I can say 198 as well, same story, right? 24, I can say 4, right? So basically the whole table is searchable, right? Um, yeah, so that's great. But there's one problem with this table, which is this. So for example, this is a case sensitive search. So for example, if I type MANOJ, it will not uh, match the record. The reason being the term that I provided, the M is in small letters, right? Where the name in the actual data record is in capital letter, right? M is a capital. So what I have to do for that is whenever you're searching, and this is very common whenever you're making a search functionality, is to convert everything to lowercase if you don't want your search to be say such like case sensitive, right? So it will make everything case insensitive, and you have to do it for both the term and the record that you're matching. The reason being, someone can type like like a capital M or capital L or whatever. So now if I do this, it works, and even if I do this, it works, right? So that's basically what we wanted to achieve. So our record is searchable now. That's great. Let's implement sorting and get this done with this session. So for sorting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a sort index, okay, which is null in the start. So basically it will be, our track according to which column we have to sort, right? So we are basically tracking which column we are sorting. And at a time, we can only sort using one, index, right? And yeah, so let's get started with that. Another thing that I want to do is sort direction, right? So are we sorting in which direction, ASC or DESC, whatever, right? So by default it will be null as well. So let's get started with that. What I want, whenever I click on any of these column, it will call on sort. All right, so v on click, let's say handle sort or sort records. I think that's a better name, sort records. And I'm going to pass the column index, basically, which property we want to index using. So great, short records, why the S is in capital. So now let's define our method here. On not on, short records, and go here, put a comma. Great, so we receive the index here. Great, and I'm just going to say this dot sort index is equal to that index. And what I'm going to do is this dot rows equal to this dot rows dot sort row, right? Let's don't worry about the direction right now, and just perform a sort in ascending manner. So I know the index, right? So it's going to take 2 rows, right? Not 1. So it's a sorting method, right? So it's basically going to give us 2 rows to compare between. So what I'm going to say is return row a dot local compare to row b index and index here as well. So I'm going to explain what's happening here in a sec, but just let's see if this works or not. Okay, local compare is not a function. Yeah, local compare. let's see if this works. CJLMR, right? This is the GL, yeah. So shorting works for this. So if just reload this, click on name, and then you can see all of these getting shorted. Click on profession, they are getting shorted as well. Year of birth, great, and age, great. Yeah, shorting works. That's great. So basically, local compare, what it do is basically compare the strings and see which strings comes first and just short. This is not the best method to implement shorting. I think you should implement shorting according to the data type. For example, if it's a integer, you have to basically implement the shorting differently. If it's a string, you have to implement it differently. If it's a date, then you have to do it differently. But in our case, this is a simple example. We can go ahead with this and it will be fine. But yeah, the implementation will be similar. You just have to keep track of what data types you're shorting using. So for me, they are simple strings, so I'm just going to go with that. Great, it works. So let's implement directions now. So how are we going to implement direction? So we're just going to say if there is already a sort index, if short index, if this sort index and the index that we want to short again is equal, right? Basically what we're going to do is switch case this dot short direction, right? If it's null, then not like this. If case null, then we're just going to set the set the sort direction equal to ASC, right? If it in case it is ASC already, then we are just going to say this dot short direction to DESC, and in case if it's DESC already, then we are just going to short the key, set the sort direction to null. Okay. If it's already right, or else if it's already not set, right, then we are going to say this dot short direction equal to ASC, because by default it should be ASC, right? Great. If it's not, then it's ASC. Makes sense. Yeah, I think it will work. So basically what will happen if you click on one column, the short direction will be null, so it will be set to AC. Then you again click on it, then it will become DESC because the short index and the index is common. And then at the last, if it's DSC and you click, then it will become null, right? Makes sense. There's another thing that I have to do is if this dot short direction is null, so null means that we don't want to short it, then we are just going to override the record with this right, and return. The reason being we don't want to short, right? So we'll return to the original arrangement of the items basically. Expected a break statement. Yeah, obviously there should be a break. Break and break, right? Makes sense. Now here what we have to do is if, right, so if it's ascending, let's keep it this way. You don't have to worry about this. But if this dot short direction is equal to DESC, then in case you have to basically switch it back. So you basically switch the directions, right? I think this will work. All right, let's see if it works. I click on name. Let me see what's happening. So I click, nothing happens. Let's see why. So it should be shorted, right? It should be, or either can just say not. Should be not, right? So basically we want to, get back to our original arrangement only when the short direction is null. Click on it. It basically, shorted according to ascending order. Now descending order, it should get back, right? It does not. So it takes another click. Let me see. Console dot log this dot short direction. So let's see. Click on this ASC. Click on this DSC. It should be null, right? So this is null, right? Okay. I think I know what's the issue. So yeah, let's do one thing. Will it make a difference? Let's see. Because we are shorting, right? And yeah. Okay, it worked. So now if I click ascending order, descending order, and then back to the real result. The reason it was not working before is reference sharing. So basically, the reference of both of the arrays were shared. So they were like actually pointing to a single address in the RAM or in the memory. So basically what was happening when I'm shorting, and basically the short is like a modification method. So whenever you short, it actually modify the real array. So what was happening is it was modifying this dot rows, but because this dot rows has a reference shared with this dot raw rows, it's basically modifying the this dot raw rows as well. So once I did this, basically, spread the raw rows, basically happened that it created a new array and assigned it to this dot rows. So now this dot rows and the original array, this dot rows, are like, two different arrays, not pointing to the same address in the memory. So now it works because, they both are like different array. So now you can click and it works. Age, same goes with age. Same goes with this as well. Let's load this. Right. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The one thing I want to do is I want to see if it works with search as well. So for example, if I'm searching for 34, will it work with search? You see what is happening? The reason is I'm resetting it here. So instead of doing that, what I actually have to do is do this. And where I will got the term, I think I have to do this dot term here as well. So basically what I'm doing right now is, give me a second. So let's see if our search works right now or not. It do. So for example, let's say 34. Now if I click on this, right? So it's working. Uh, yeah. So basically, the reason I did a perform search here is because when you're shorting, right? What I was doing is I was assigning this dot raw rows, which is like the uh, the whole array. We don't want the whole array when you're searched, right? When you're searching, right? So when you're searching, you only want to sort those records, right? Basically. And yeah, guys, this is pretty much it. You can go ahead and play with this. I'm going to provide the GitHub repo in a bit in the description, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. And yeah, so we basically created a table, we loaded dynamic data into it, we implemented search and sorting into it. And yeah, so next Saturday I am going to come up with another live coding session. If you want me to do a video on a specific topic, please do let me know, and I'll try to make that happen. And yeah, so catch you guys on Saturday. Till then, have fun.